Hey, what is going on, guys? Weebly YouTube here, back with another video, and this is an updated Mermail Atlantean deck profile. I figured after YCS Tacoma and Mermails taking 7 out of the 32 top 32 spots, which is amazing, I should really do a deck profile, although it is a futuristic one because it is focusing on the Mermails stuff that will be coming out in the next set, which is when I believe they are really going to take off, and they don't need to rely on Gen X Undyne anymore, who I think is like pretty bad. I mean, pretty unreliable, pretty inconsistent. Admittedly, I ran him in a build myself at one point, but you know, he's just, you get dead controllers in your hand, and if you don't get the Allure of Darkness to get rid of them, you're just like, what can I do with them other than Singer or summon stuff? Anyway, moving on. It is a really good card to drop first turn, and it just kind of gets you a free search or a free pop of one of your opponent's cards. You know, I can definitely see the potential, but I am not running Undines in this particular build. It is more focused on Mermails. So we have 3 copies of Dragoons, 2 copies of Heavy Infantry, and 2 copies of Marksmen. You basically need the Searchers, you need the Destruction Power, and the 3 Marksmen's is dead. So I dropped it to 2. Because you're going to draw into him, and you're not running Atlantean attack squad, so you can't really go into anything kind of significant. So, other than being kind of discard fodder for Abyss Megalo, I don't really see the point in running 3 of him. 3 copies of Abyss Linda. This girl, rather, is such a beast. Along with the copies of Abyssphere, the combo with her and Abyssphere is just amazing. I don't know why you wouldn't run 3 copies of her. And the boss monster of the deck, Mermail Abyss Megalo, had 3 copies as well. Some people only run 2 copies of Abyss Megalo, and at the moment I can understand that because it's so expensive a card that you're not really going to be able to get your hands on 3 copies of him. Testing out 1 copy of Mermail Abyss Dyne. I was going to run her 2 copies, but I actually tried it for a while. And it turns out that you just kind of draw into her too much. You don't want to draw this card. You want to keep it in the deck or in the graveyard. If you ditch it with Abyss Megalo, for example. She's really, really good. For those of you who don't know what she does, when this card is added from your deck or graveyard to your hand by a card effect, if you control the face-up Mermail monster, you can special summon her from your hand. And when she's special summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, you can target 1 level 3 or lower Mermail in your graveyard and special summon it. So you can special summon herself if there's another copy of her, but as I said, I only run 1 copy. And thus the only other target is Mermail Abyss Linda, which is fine, because you can go Mermail Abyss Pike, discard Abyss Linda or Dragoons if there's an Abyss Linda in the grave already. You get 2 Surges, one of which will be Abyss Dyne. The other one will probably be Abyss Megalo, if you have the water monsters in your hand, or perhaps a Deep Sea Diva, or Moon Glacia, or whatever, you know. Then you get to special summon the Abyss Dyne, special summon the Abyss Linda from the graveyard with her effect, and you have 3 monsters in the field. And you can overlay for a Zen Mains or a Leviathan Dragon or whatever the hell you want. And it's not too bad, you know, I mean, it's a good combo. 2 Abyss Pikes and 1 Abyss Turge. I was going to go over 3 Abyss Pikes, but because of Abyss Dyne in the deck, Abyss Turge allows you to and kind of another way to target her. If you add her from your graveyard to your hand, as she states, you can special summon her as well. So you can basically discard something like a Dragoons, again, for example, because he's like by far the best thing you can discard in this deck. To add the Abyss Dyne back to your hand, to special summon her, to special summon the Abyss Linda again, and it's the same situation. Once you've used the Abyss Pike combination at least once, and the Abyss Dyne is in your graveyard. 2 Deep Sea Divas. I was going to run it at 1, in fact, because it's searchable. I'm not going for an OTK anymore, so I don't particularly want to draw the card for the game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with drawing a Deep Sea Diva, everyone knows. But running it at 3 was just overkill. I wanted to free up space for kind of more tech cards. I'm trying out 1 copy of Mermail Abyss Nose. Basically, when he kills a monster in battle, you can discard a water monster to special summon a Mermail from the deck in a defense position. And of course, that Mermail gets its effect. Like, if you kill something, you special summon the Abyss Pike in turn gets its effect to discard something. And, like, you can imagine this. You destroy something, you discard Dragoons to special summon an Abyss Pike, who discards a Marksman to pop their back row, to add an Abyss Dyne to their hand, which special summons the Abyss Dyne, which special summons the Abyss Linda, and you have 4 monsters in the field, and you're just like, overlay my level 3s, overlay my level 4s, bam. Boss. Totally. Or then you go Dark Hole, and you special summon Moon Glacia. Yay! As for the spells, you know, Heavy Storm, Monster More, and Dark Hole. Double MST, was going to run a 3, but decided against it. Double Forbidden Lance and double Salvage. Forbidden Lance because I like Marksman to be able to get over things. I also like Abyss Nose to be able to attack over things. And in general, I like stuff to be able to attack over things. I also like my summons to be successful and not be kind of hindered by the likes of Bottomless Trap Hole. As for the traps, we have 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, 3 copies of Abyssphere, the best card ever, in my opinion. It's just so good. You can do a couple of things with this card. You could set it, wait for your opponent to MST it, and then of course bring out the Abyss Linda, who in turn is destroyed, and lets you bring out either Abyss Pike, Abyss Megalo, Abyss Turge, etc. Or you can wait until your opponent either has or has not a battle phase. So at the end of their main phase 1 or at the end of their main phase 2, if they're ending their turn at that stage, you will say, I will chain this card. And then during their next end phase, it will be destroyed, which is actually the very next end phase that they have. So you chain it, you bring out Abyss Linda, Abyss Sphere goes to the graveyard, and then Abyss Linda's effect kicks off. And unless they have an MST in their hand and it can immediately respond to Abyss Sphere's activation, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. Because the stuff that they just set, obviously they can't activate it. So, it's a really good move to do. And you can set yourself up with an Abyss Megalo on the field. And then, of course, you might have another one in your hand, which you can bring out, and then you can go for, like, Abyss Gaios or Big Eye and take one of their monsters and, just be an overall dickhead, basically. 2 copies of Mirror Force because I don't like people swarming the field. The same goes for the Torrential Tributes, which incidentally can also be comboed with Abyss Sphere, where if they summon something, you chain Torrential and you chain Abyss Sphere on top of that, so that you bring out the Abyss Linda, who will die because of the Torrential, and you bring out, Abyss Megalo. So yeah, it's awesome. And finally, we have 3 copies of Abyss Scorn. Abyss Scorn is amazing. It's going to completely change how Mermails are played, and it's going to make them tier 1 for sure. Target 1 face-up mermaid monster you control. It gains 1000 attack until the end phase. Did somebody say damage step? When this set card is sent to the graveyard, target 1 monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. I love a card that has like 2 uses, You can either leave it there, wait till your opponent destroys it, and then you get to send a monster for free, or you can wait until the damage step, until something attacks it. We can wait until they bring out their really annoying Blackluster Soldier, and then just attack over it with your Abyss Megalo. I mean, there's just so many really good uses for this card. As for kind of other options, I was thinking of adding in the 2nd copy of Abyss Stein and also 1 copy of Tragoedia, but other than that, the deck is pretty consistent. I haven't actually lost a game with it yet, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of the deck. What do you think of the new Mermails? Do you think they're going to make a difference? I mean, there's only 3 cards, really. Abyss Stein, Abyss Nose, and Abyss Scorn. But I think they're going to make all the difference, in my honest opinion. The extra deck is Gachi, Leviathan Dragon, Zen Mains, Utopia, Bahamut Shark, who is now released, Maestroke, Abyss Dweller, who is really good in Mirror Match, as well as against any deck that relies on the graveyard, like Insectors, Dark Worlds, yada yada yada. Big Eye and Abyss Gaios, who I managed to fit in. He's actually really, really good. Way better than I originally gave him credit for. Just negates effects. Anything with attack lower than his own. I mean, why would you not want that? Gungnir, Scrap Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, Aladra's Cataster, and Dularan. I managed to fit Dularan back in as well. I don't really use him as much anymore, but on occasion, if you want to return discard fodder to your hand, for example, to use to special summon Abyss Megalo, you can definitely do that. And there are some occasions where I actually might want to do that, because if you want to get the effects of Marksman off again, and you have a Dragoons on the field, let's say you attack directly with Marksman, and you special summon the Dragoons, and you had a Diva, the next turn in your hand you summon the Diva, and you managed to get out a Dularan, and then you want to return the stuff back to your hand to ditch for Abyss Megalo again, you can do that. But anyway, guys, as I said, that is the deck. Let me know what you think. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. As always, I just passed 300 subscribers. I was actually kind of on hiatus for a while because Black Ops 2 came out, as I mentioned in my last video. But I'm going to try making videos much more regularly now, and I hope you enjoy. Anyway, guys, I will talk to you guys later. I'm a YouTuber, and I am signing out. Peace.